So welcome to my channel. It has been quite a while since I've posted, not for the lack of trying. This particular project I had started in December, and life happened, and I decided I need to just take a break. I need to just set everything aside. I need to rest. I need to take a break. So then I set it aside and didn't get back to it until January, got a little bit of work done, and then I got COVID and was out for 2 weeks. And then the week after was spent getting life put back together. You know, the house was a mess. There were all kinds of things to do to recovering from COVID. So here we are, middle to late February, finally getting this video out. It's been so many months since I'm on camera. It's like starting over. It's like, what do I do with my hands? Where do I lean? Where do I sit?
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Be good just to hold them down by your side. Yeah, great.
With what was going on, and at the end of the day, you got to be happy.
It's basically starting all over again, figuring these things out. Probably be most obvious when you see some of the early footage taken in December when my hair looks completely different. It's a different color, the cut's a little bit shorter, because it has grown out since then. I have wanted to wear this dress ever since I was 5 years old. You know, sometimes babies or dolls or something have just the most beautiful clothes, and you wish it was in your size. I'm making that dream come true today. So the dress I'm making today is this one. My grandmother made this dress when I was 5 years old. Just always loved this dress. It's just so cute and pretty. I like the ruffles that come up around the neck and around the sleeve, how they stand out. It has a little clasp right here. And when you look at the inside, you can see that she just took a rectangle of fabric, gathered it into the waistband. For the bodice, it looks like it was just a simple bodice with darts sewn into it. She machine sewed these tiny little darts. The arms are not set in sleeves, they're ones that are cut with the fabric. I might have to set in sleeves in order to get them to fit in my size. But my goal is to make mine as close to hers as possible. Obviously, I'm not going to have the same fabric. Look at this. It has cute little clowns on it. It was for a 5-year-old, so of course it's going to be 5-year-old appropriate. And this fabric is from the late 80s, so it is not in production anymore. And while I could go into Spoonflower or something like that and remake it, maybe one day I will, I'm not really interested in wearing tiny little clowns right now. I mean, the scale of these would be very different on me than on a little doll. And of course the trim, it looks like it's a box pleated lace, which again does not exist anymore. Not like this, at least. I haven't found any, at least. So there will be some concessions made towards making this beautiful dress. But I am so excited to get to wear this housecoat. My grandmother sewed almost her entire life, starting off with making clothes for herself and her children, but I think she really enjoyed making these little dresses for me when I was little. These particular dresses are ones that she had made with the intention to sell. Unfortunately, we came to inherit them instead, and they've been sitting in a box for 20 years waiting to be passed along to my daughter. But going through them and looking at them is just a wonder to me how much love and attention she put into each of these dresses. Sure, it's the same pattern with a simple skirt and a simple bodice, but all of them having different fabrics and different trims, all of them with a necklace or a hat or a purse for the accessories, and all of them just turned out so gorgeous. So I'm quite glad to be able to have them and be able to pass them down. I remember my grandmother this way. And of course, for mine, she stitched my initials into every piece, which came in great handy because they were stolen several times, and I managed to get them back each time because my initials were sewn into the dresses. She had a variety of styles that she made for me, from this beautiful two-piece suit to more casual wear. And of course, she knew me that not only was I a big fan of pink, but that I was a huge fan of ball gowns. So she made sure to include a lot of ball gowns. This particular ball gown that she had made for me, she hand-stitched all of the beads and accents into this dress. Just incredible to think how much time and care and attention she put into that. Each of these pieces were played with and used and loved, and they're still in amazing condition, especially considering they're over 30 years old. And that brings us back to the piece that I have decided to create in this video. So I'm excited to get started. Let's do it. I looked through and I didn't have set fabric in mind. I didn't want to match that exactly. I wanted to find a fabric that spoke to me and that I would enjoy wearing. And I think I found it. It was in the Halloween section, and I guess it's Halloween. It has little moons, stars on it, but didn't really scream Halloween, so I think it'd be okay to wear year-round, or in this climate, in the winter. I liked the colors, I liked the design, and I thought it would make just a beautiful, beautiful house coat. So, got as much of that as I could. For the bodice, that's the tricky part, and I can either draft a bodice from scratch or use a pattern. And of course I don't have a pattern that matches that design exactly, but what I do have is this. This is an old pattern that I got at a thrift shop, and it looks nothing like the house coat that I'm going to make. Nothing like. But what it does have is it has that cross in the front in the jacket, just like the house coat, and it has the darts in the front and back, just like the house coat. It does have the set-in sleeves, but that's okay. It'll just be a different fit in the sleeves. And all I would have to do is shorten it to the waist. It's a square shirt, square, pleated down into a skirt. It's not going to be hard to attach to it. What I'm mainly looking for is this upper part. Why reinvent the wheel when you have it already here for you? Okay, so getting the pattern pieces cut out, measured up against my body to start with so I could see how long I would need it to not be. I have my mock-up fabric, just something I have lying around that I don't particularly like and don't plan to use. Pin the pattern down and making sure that I mark all of the darts so that I can line up all of those marks . Very carefully, give it a little bit of a finger press and put some pins. You always want to make sure that you put the darts in the mock-up because it really changes how the entire thing fits. So this isn't one that you skip. This is one that you make sure you do the darts very accurately. Pin up the sides and the shoulders. And let's sew this mock-up together. Here's the initial try-on for the mock-up. I was pretty happy with the fit here. That the side seam lined up where it was supposed to be, the darts lined up where they were supposed to be, which is all, yay, good. The only Parts that didn't fit quite great is that the V in the front came down a little lower than I had wanted to, and this design was clearly intended for shoulder pads and wide shoulders, so that would need to be taken in. How I decided to go about adding in those extra width on the front V is I pinned some fabric to the front and then just took my fabric chalk and marked out where I wanted to extend that fabric. I've already marked out this side. You can see a little bit of the marks there. Just adding a couple inches there. Then cut up the mock-up, and I'm using it to make a clean pattern, tracing it onto the back of wrapping paper. My little supervisor there is helping me out, making sure I do it well. Then I use my ruler in order to make sure that my lines are straight. And then of course you have to take a little break for cat snuggles. This little boy is named Boomy, and he loves to work with me in my sewing loft. You'll find him here a lot. I'm cutting out my finished pattern under Boomy's wonderful guidance and supervision. And now it's time to actually get to the sewing. Cutting out my pattern pieces. You can see the wrapping paper on one side and then the back pattern, which didn't need to be altered. I've already marked out all of the darts and drawn the stitch lines for those and pinned them down, and then pinned the sides and shoulders to be sewn up. Yes, the dart turned out very nicely. Well done, self 5. And then I just used a serger for the sides and shoulders to make them nice and clean, and set in the sleeve, matching up the armpit and the notches. I did a gathering stitch across the top so that I can take in that extra width and have that little bit of the gather at the top. I like having that little bit of gather at the top of the sleeves, not only because it looks cute, but that it makes setting in the sleeves a lot easier than trying to get them smooth. Keep it simple. I did have that extra seam allowance at the top of the sleeve from where it had that extra boxiness. So I'm just making sure that I'm lining it up properly with where I want the shoulder to hit. You're probably wondering why my house coat is so thin. Why haven't I chosen a warmth layer? Fleece would have surely been better. Well, I live in a very warm climate where the middle of January was 68 degrees and the end of February is in the upper 70s, and it's only going to get warmer from there. So I knew that if I put in that layer of warmth, I'd only maybe have 1 or 2 chances to wear it before I got overheated. So I made the decision to just use the quilting cotton. It'll keep me plenty warm without overheating. And then the bodice is pretty much done. Fits well, the shoulders look good, have that little bit of a gather. I decided to just hold it up against me and mark where I needed it to be cut. Then took it to my table and drew the stitch line and cut off the excess. Yes, I lost some of the footage here. I don't know what happened or where it went, so bear with me in this section. I sewed 2 gathering stitches at the top of the skirt and gathered them down into the bodice, making sure I lined them up ends to end, and then ran them through my serger in order to join the 2 parts together, making a completed dress. Look at that, it turned out so pretty. From there, it was just a matter of taking it to the iron, folding over a quarter, and then folding it over again, and sewing it down. I decided I was going to sew it down once on its own, and then sew the lace on top of that, in case I ever needed to take the lace off for any reason. Or, if I wanted to add an extra warmth layer, I would just repeat all the steps I've already done, and attach it to that quarter seam, so that it would have that snuggly in the inside, without having to take the whole thing apart. And I sewed on these adorable flower clasps, and it was ready to be worn. Special thanks to my mother for allowing me to film in her gorgeous house. I had to take full advantage. If you made it this far into the video, please consider, how should I say it? If you made it this far into the video, please consider giving me a like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment.
Down below, like, hit the bell.
Hit the bell. So with that, it is time to clean my sewing space and get ready for the next video. See you next time.